this was not the only game 7 we had today. We also had the Pacers beating the Knicks. John and Claire and I are going to break it down. But first, as I mentioned, our producer, Josh
Knicks
Rodriguez, is
fan.
a
Josh.
New York native and
Oh,
huge Knicks fan.
I'm
And
so sorry, Josh.
I know.
Josh, I know the chat loves seeing us miserable. So, Josh, what are your thoughts on on Game 7 and what felt like a once in a lifetime missed opportunity for the Knicks? Win Game 7 at home, Eastern Conference Finals with the Celtics, like everything you have kind of been wanting to get back to. So, what was your takeaway from the game, bro?
I mean, as a Knick fan, it's just been kind of frustrating because you lose Julius going into the playoffs, and then you don't have Mitch to start the series because he gets hurt. Bowie gets hurt last playoff series. Then OG goes down. And it got to the point where it was just kind of like the writing was on the wall where it's like, all right, this is just not our year. It's just how is it going to end? And I think the most frustrating thing about everything is I said this before last episode. I think the Pacers, like for a playoff team, I think they suck. Like there's no way they should be in the Eastern Conference Finals. They don't deserve to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. They played a Bucks team without Giannis. Dame was hurt. Chris Middleton was practically playing on one leg. And then you get a Knicks team that's basically missing half of the rotation. So as a Knicks fan, it just kind of hurts to lose to a team like that. But at the same time, there's a lot of optimism. You know, I'm not taking it too hard. I think the Knicks now have like a 2 to 4 window where you can literally say, hey, this team go to the finals and maybe win one, you know, given the circumstances if they, you know, fall correctly the way that they can. So, I mean, it's bittersweet because it was one of my most favorite Knicks teams of all time. It was a fun
Yeah.
team to root for.
Yeah.
But, you know, it
Yeah.
was over. I think the writings were on the wall. Like once OG went down, like that was it. It was just like, there's just no way they're going to be
Do you have concerns over a former Bulls fan who tweeted the following?
Okay.
Tibbs era. One, Tibbs, this is from this is from Flo's Andolini. Tibbs era. One, Tibbs changes the culture, players embrace hard work. Two, players perform beyond expectations. Three, a star is born or brought over. Four, expectations form. Five, a deep playoff run is expected. Six, freak injuries. Seven, fans defend Tibbs hard. Eight, players aren't the same next year. Nine, fans turn on Tibbs. 10, he's fired. These are the 10 the
Oh,
10 Tibbs commandments.
God.
the cycle of life.
If we get to Commandment 8, then I'm panicking. Yeah, because they're still next year. And if they're not playing the same, then maybe. I think there's legit concern. I think there are a lot of Knick fans on Twitter, especially who are very sensitive about this. Like if you even like mention that this could be a problem, they'll flip on you and they'll curse you out and like, how dare you,
Oh,
question
you
Tom
don't
Thibodeau.
say.
Yeah, yeah.
But Knicks
They're
fans are
out
so
there.
even keeled. What are you
Yeah.
talking
Oh,
about?
we're so logical and we're so even tempered. We're a joy to be around. But I do think it is a fair question. It's not one that I'm asking right now. Julius's injury was kind of a freak injury with Ami Jaquez. Um, it, so to me, I don't know. I don't want to believe that's true. Do you know what I mean? There's so many good things happening right now that I don't even want to believe that that's true. I don't want to
Yeah.
believe that next year around this
Look at
time
how sorry
we're having
John
the same
feels for you.
conversation.
I mean, to me, I'm
Look at
just
this.
thinking
Look at
like
the pity on John's face right now.
I'm looking at the injuries. You know what I mean? Like a hamstring injury. That's
Yeah.
like that happens from
Overused, yeah.
overexertion. You know what I mean? Like
And the
foot
abdominal
injuries.
strain.
And the abdominal
Yeah.
You
too.
know what
Yeah,
I
that
mean?
happens from
Yeah.
like
You know what I mean? Like so I'm like
48 minutes a game. Yeah. That'll do
that
it.
will do it. That'll do it. It's something
yeah.
like, yeah, this is a great team. They're fun as hell to watch, and they look. It seems like they fuck with Tibbs heavily. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
They love
But
him.
like,
That's part of the
bro,
cycle.
exactly. But it's like, dog, like you just can't run players
Mhm.
into the ground and expect them to play deep into the playoffs like that. It's
Yeah.
just very hard. And the players he's running to the ground are guards.
But
You
to
know
be,
what I'm saying?
to
They,
be,
you know,
yeah,
go ahead.
to be fair to Tibbs, the reason why he ran those players into the ground was because he had no other choice. I mean, like I said, Julius was out, Mitch was out for a long time. They had a lot of injuries, and
I
We're talking
slightly
about
disagree with that though,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I
okay,
think it's been revealed that one of Tibbs' like hallmark characteristics as a coach is that he only trusts a handful of players, which is
yeah,
understandable. But
yeah,
like we saw those Alec,
Which he's correct about, right? I mean,
he's
like that's
mostly correct
right.
about. But we
But
saw,
her
for
but her
example,
point,
those
yeah.
Alec Burks minutes in the games where he had to start playing, and it's like, oh, this is like a legitimate rotation player. He had 26 points tonight in a closeout game. Like he could have been taking some of those minutes earlier in this playoff run or earlier towards the end of the season, and maybe you save yourself a Josh Hart abdominal injury, you know? So like
yeah.
that's the thing with Tibbs is I do kind of agree with John in that I think that Tibbs teams oftentimes do have ceilings as far as how far they can go because there's just only so many minutes you can put on your body. And I think it is that catch 22 of like he is 100% the person who's going to get you across that threshold into being like a capable, really good playoff team. But he's also maybe not the person that can get you to that next level of being like a championship contender, in the sense of like, this team to me should have come out of the East if everybody was healthy. Like, I trust them over the Celtics 7 days a week, but they didn't make it there because of the injuries. And so that's the kind of devil's bargain with Tibbs, is like, can you ever stay healthy enough with a Tom Thibodeau coach team to even get that far?
And I think sometimes it's not necessary. Like, obviously, and I'll just point it out, there's injuries on every team. Like, it does happen. And so it just is the fact that because it's his reputation, you're going to feel more causality with those injuries. Yeah. Even though there's no real way to say a hamstring strain. You know, one of my hamstring strains is just because I'm old and fat, not because I'm overusing it. Like, you just don't know what's happening with that muscle group, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we've talked about the different types of NBA coaches. I'm a 49ers fan, and we had Jim Harbaugh as our coach. I feel like Jim Harbaugh and Tibbs are very similar. Those dudes are not going to be in one place for 15 years. Like, they ramp up energy, they bring guys to a new threshold, and then eventually that burns you out to some extent, whether that's sort of at the organization or that core group of players or whatever. And I feel like I've been a huge fan of every team he's ever coached because I love the way that they play. But I do feel like there does come a ceiling to it. And I hope that the Knicks haven't hit it, because I really love this Knicks team.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, not as much as Claire and Josh, obviously, but I hope it's not the end for them. It was so much fun seeing the Garden going crazy. I'm gonna say something nice about the Pacers in a second, but on the Knicks, I'm heartbroken because the Boston New York Eastern Conference Final.
Oh my God,
was just it was a
so
dream.
much hate. That makes
we were a game away. We were a game away.
Right. I think the falling apart is not it's I think it's an anomaly. But I don't think it's a coincidence that it was a Tibbs coach team.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm at with it. We're like, we don't see teams. I think the last time we saw a team fall apart like this in a series was probably the Warriors. You know what I mean?
You're saying just physically falling apart.
Just physically falling
with Kevin
apart
Durant
like
and Clay.
It was just like it felt like almost like a Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Exactly, like this. Turn the injuries off on the game, bro. Like, just tweak it. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't feel coincidental, being how Tibbs history. So we'll see. I think it's a mixture.
It's a mixture of both to me. Like, Bowie got hurt because he got fell on, in the backcourt in a 76ers game, and Julius's injury had nothing to do with fatigue. But I do think you can make the argument with Josh's injury, and you can make the argument OG's injury that, hey, it might have been because they're running out there for 45 minutes a game. So I think
I'm not going to mess with your thought process, because you're like you say, you fall in love with the team because of that identity that he puts on the team.
That's the thing.
And so I can't I'm not going to mess with you as a fan. I've thought way crazier things than the things you're thinking.
Mike, I'm happy for the first time in 20 years, man.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not.
Just let me be happy, bro.
And it was so funny too. This Knicks team is so tenacious and so resilient that so I was at a Knicks bar, an incredible Knicks bar in Silver Lake, where it was like packed to the gills, standing room only, watching this game with Knicks fans. And it wasn't until Jalen Brunson broke his literal hand that the hope was actually lost, because it was like, it didn't matter that OG only played 4 minutes, and it didn't matter that Josh was playing through an abdominal strain. Like, Mitch is gone, Julius is gone, like they're dropping like flies, but the fan base always kept hope just because they were so incredibly resilient. So I do feel like if they had, just like a couple more players that Tibbs could trust, a couple more rotational players that he could trust next year, that I really do think they can be right back here. I don't have a ton of faith in anybody in the East, really, so I don't see any reason why they can't make their way back. I'm team find a way to get Mikal Bridges if possible. I love the Nova Knicks.
Doing it. The Infinity Stones are coming together. I'm telling you.
It's the last Infinity Stone. It's the last Infinity Stone.
I do think, and obviously, Chicago is not like a small market team or something, but I do think there's something to the magic of the Garden. I don't know if the Knicks brand has that, but playing in New York, playing in front of those fans, there is something that hopefully, even though he does have the reputation we've discussed within the league, hopefully that is enough of an attractant that it sort of offsets that, because I do think, who would not want to go be a part of? I mean, you saw what those fans were doing for a Eastern Conference semifinal.
Yeah.
Like, who would not want to be a part of getting that team over the hump, So, I don't know. We'll see. We've all had a difficult time buying tickets. Lakers games are expensive, but I try and find games to take my son Vinny to. It's hard to find good deals, especially at the last minute.
You shouldn't have to worry when you buy tickets to your next big event. Game Time is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you.
The Lakers have a ton of home games the remainder of the year. I like that in the Game Time app, they have last-minute tickets. You can see views from every seat.
Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. Their all-in pricing shows your total up front, so you know you're getting a great deal before you buy. They also have the Game Time guarantee, which means you'll always get the best price.
Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time.
Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code J&J for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code JANDJ for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. I'm going to quibble a little bit with what Josh said about the Pacers not being an Eastern Conference Finals team in the following regard. There's been some historic things about this team when it comes to pace. I think we've been critical, and I stand by the criticism because we're Anthony Edwards type people, as we discuss, of Tyrese Haliburton for being too passive or for his game being too facilitation first. However, this is what the Pacers did today, and this is the case for them as a team that could beat the Celtics or that's worth watching in the Eastern Conference Finals. All 5 starters between 17 and 26 points. The team as a whole shot 67.1% from the field, which I believe is the highest field goal percentage by any team in NBA playoff history, not just game 7s. And they do all that at pace. 130 points for them is not an unrepeatable thing. That is just the way that their team is built to go, even in the playoffs. So they don't have the compelling storyline of the other 3 teams that are in the conference finals, but I do think they maybe, we talk about the likability of the Thunder or the Knicks. They might be the team that has the team dynamic that's sort of the most appealing in that regard. You guys buy or sell that? Am I full of shit?
I buy that, actually. I don't hate this Pacers team, just for the record.
Period.
I know it sounded
they're actually fun.
You're like, let me pull this back a little bit.
Yeah, I know I sound very salty right now. That's because my team just lost, so I'm angry about it.
You should be.
But yeah, but they are a fun team to watch. I mean, they're offensively, they're incredible, and defensively at home, they're great. I don't know what happens on the road, but defensively at home, they're fine. So I actually think that they're going to give the Celtics a little bit of a run. I think they'll probably go 6 or like a hard 5, if that makes any sense. But I do think they're fun to root for. It's just, right now, the Knicks just lost today, so I'm just kind of feeling a little down.
That was the craziest shot making I've ever seen in my entire life.
It was insane. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And I think it actually literally, according to NBA history, was the craziest shot making I've ever seen in my entire life. Because I think they said it was the highest field goal percentage ever in a game 7 in NBA history. It was like 67% from the field by the time all was said and done. So,
but I think 75 first half, something like that.
And I'll add this: the Pacers are a great example of the in-season tournament working, because I've watched a dozen Pacers games this year, and normally going into the playoffs, I would perhaps have seen that team play one time. You know what I mean? So I do think that's their strength. John and Claire, give me serious predictions. Is there any interest in predicting a Pacers upset of the Celtics?
No, but I will say, I think the Pacers will get a game. To your point, I agree with you, Josh. A game, maybe 2. The Celtics are good for 1, get lazy and give a game away game per series. So I feel like at minimum 5 games. But then I could see the Pacers maybe, if they have another crazy hot shooting night like that, and the Celtics are not having a hot shooting night, like I could see them getting 2 games. I don't think they're going to upset them, though. I think the Celtics are going to win that series.
I think the Celtics have a bozo game, and I think the Celtics have a we just can't hit shit game. And and I think it goes 6. You know what I mean? But I actually don't think the games when the Celtics win will be that close. I think the games when the Celtics win, they'll show that we're a much better team.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Like with them winning today, like we saw Haliburton. We said too passive. He wasn't passive today. I think the games that they won, he wasn't passive. So there was some truth to what we were saying with that.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean the ball moving and shit. He's a very likable player. That's what makes it frustrating when he's not going hard. It's like I want you to succeed. Even though I was rooting for the Knicks, I'm still wanting Haliburton to go out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Playing well. But
we're gonna talk about.
You see the jersey, the hoodie he had on.
Okay, let's talk about it.
I hate that so much. I hate it. I hate it.
Here's my question.
It's fun though. If you're
because
not
no,
a Knicks
because
fan.
he wants.
I don't believe him.
He wants the villain role, and that's my question.
I don't believe him.
I think he's goofy. I think he's
is he
goofy.
too goofy to be a
He's
villain?
way too goofy to be a villain. I don't believe him. I don't believe it at all. Like the thing is, Trae Young, when he was like taking on and leaning into that heel role at MSG and, you know, like motioning to the crowd and stuff like that, like Trae Young is good at being a villain. And I have respect for anyone who's willing to step into those shoes if they're good at doing it. The problem is Tyrese Haliburton is like, I'm going to help an old lady cross the street. Like that is his vibe. And
that's good.
Respect. And that's
it's
good.
And when you're not
playing
a villain.
Right.
We need people like that in the world.
Too. Let's not say Trae Young wouldn't.
You think so?
But he's a better actor than
Trae would not.
He crossed her up, she falls, then he help her. But he had to cross
anybody
first,
cross the road.
No, I don't believe. I think Trae would probably be like looking down at his phone, texting, and like not even paying attention, probably.
Yes.
But no, like, so Tyrese is just like, he seems like a really good dude. He seems like a sweetheart. He seems like he has a heart of gold. That's all fine and good. If you want to be the heel to the freaking New York Knicks, you gotta be a little like spicier than that. He's vanilla, right? Can we admit it? He's pretty vanilla.
I think he's a troll. And I think Trae Young was a villain.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think he's trolling the Knicks fans. Like Trae Young truly enjoyed the hate.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so did, and this is the problem in this rivalry in particular, is you're following in the footsteps of Reggie Miller, who is a true villain, who was getting ready to call Game 7 tonight and still went and posted on his Instagram a picture of the Knicks talking shit to him with the caption, "When the series changed, Jalen Brunson, you're a true baller. Been the best player in these playoffs, but you and your boys can all heal up together on some beautiful beaches in Cancun. Please enjoy."
Such
with 2 exclamation points.
That hates forever. And
hashtag God don't like ugly.
But you believe it when he does it because he's just such a hater. He's just such a, you know what? I hate to bring up I don't hate to, I love to, but I apologize for bringing up the Kendrick and Drake feud in 2 concurrent episodes, but it reminds me of, like, I was saying this about the Kendrick and Drake thing. It feels like the reason Drake was never going to win that beef is because it felt like Drake was just participating. Like, he's like, I'm here in this feud, so I'm going to like do my perfunctory response and participate. Kendrick actively really hates him, and it's obvious. Like, he deeply in his bones, and he's a hater. He was born in the hate, and you can't summon or fake hate if it doesn't live within you. And I think that's the problem, is like Tyrese probably doesn't hate anybody.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Reggie's a hater. He's a true hater.
Yeah. Drake didn't have enough disdain in him to really get really nasty like he needed to in order to win that battle. Sure.
And one more condescending thing to say about the Pacers. I don't believe Knicks fans actually thought the Pacers and Haliburton were like on equal footing, right? So like Reggie and Trae, the time, it's like, man, these guys might be better than us, or they're at least on the same level. If you ask any Knicks fan, we're gonna be like, yeah, we lost that series because we're not healthy, period. Like Haliburton, whatever, he went off, but like,
you ask any basketball fan.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say, you ask anybody, really.
Yeah, we know what time
also,
it was.
the chat's calling him a Disney villain at best.
Disney's got some good villains.
Yeah, Disney villains used to keep me up at night as a child. Like, they were scary,
bro. Yeah, like you can't put Tyrese Haliburton on the same category.
Scar was evil,
Scar was evil.
You know, Cruella DeVille was skinning puppies, bro.
Seriously,
Tyrese Haliburton's not skinning puppies.
Nah,
he's not shooting Bambi's mom in the head, bro. Come on.
Was it Ursula from Little Mermaid?
Yeah,
still hate her. She's still nasty. You know,
it's the difference between someone who would skin a puppy and someone who would watch that movie and cry, and that's who we're talking about. Is Tyrese Haliburton. I really believe he probably cried when he watched 101 Dalmatians.
Hell yeah!
But salute to him because he played amazing tonight. So that's. I mean, they won.
He's a dream. He's a dream. He's like a Nickelodeon villain, like a DreamWorks villain.
Yeah.
Maybe a Pixar villain. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a Pixar villain. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, exactly. He's like your own guilt. You know what I mean?
he's like Roger Klotz. He's like Roger Klotz. That's where he reminds me of from Doug.
He's like Dr. Robotnik or something.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Dr.
It's like he's a villain, but it's kind of like funny at the same. You're not afraid of him at any point.
I saw a tweet last week that was like, Tyrese Haliburton is the kid that reminds the teacher they forgot to assign homework.
Bro, I feel like Haliburton roots for the cops in car chases. You know what I mean? That's why, I feel like, because they're wrong. You know what I mean? Like, we need to, get these people off the street. I feel like he's that type
They're
of
never going to let any of us in Indiana after this.
And maybe he's probably right in that, but who's rooting for the cops in that situation? You know
Claire,
what I mean?
do you know John had a beef with the whole state of Indiana? Were you aware of that?
I'm not. What's the beat?
Yeah.
When he was working at Yahoo, he made a video that was making fun of Indiana, and it was like people literally were like, I mean, it was like a thing for a couple of days on all over social media. People were like, "You're not allowed to come to Indiana."
Oh my God. Well, I'm sure.
You. The fuck? I went to Indianapolis twice. The best thing about going to Indianapolis was leaving, and I said that prior to the beef, nigga. Like years before that, I went to ask somebody for where do I go get something to eat. I wanted what type of cuisine y'all got here? They sent me to a Subway. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Get me the fuck out of here, bro. I want to go home. I
did skip All-Star in Indiana. I skipped it,
bro. Because that's what I said. I said, I said we don't want an All-Star game in Indianapolis. Like, no. I mean, Chicago was cold, but at least it was Chicago. I was doing Chicago shit with my Chicago friends. You know what I mean? Like, you know. So I was like, anyway, I was like, I didn't want to go to the All-Star game, and they had like people enter. Have you heard of Jethro Jenkins? Could you watch this video? Like in the streets, like Fox News. Bro. Yeah. Fox News was interviewing people about what I said. I'm like, what the fuck?
They were really,
I'm not that important for
it. It was an enjoyable time.
Just another elite.
Chat, I would say
that. They thought I was from St.
Just
Louis.
another West Coast elite, John.
I had an LA hat on though. They thought, you know what I'm saying? They were like, I heard you're not even from LA. You're from St. Louis. Yeah, nigga, fuck you. And I wouldn't give a fuck what you said about St. Louis. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't give a fuck about you. Like,
that's a little, it's a little.
We wouldn't interview about what you said because we don't give a fuck, nigga. Fuck you. Fuck Indianapolis, nigga. Hey, fuck your opinion. You feel me? Everybody but Haliburton and fucking Turner, nigga. I don't give a fuck about nobody else in that city. Now, for real, that's some cool people that hit me up about that. Really cool. But dog, I could imagine some goofy ass nigga say some shit about St. Louis and we interview. Have you heard about this? No, because we don't care. Go somewhere.
Did you see the clip of Haliburton made the shot over Deuce and then did the too small? And then when Deuce turned around, he went like he was pretending to like wipe his nose.
He started picking his nose.
That's why I know he's not a real hater, because he can't stand on it 10 toes down. It's like, if you're going to be a hater, you have to be a hater front facing, back facing, to the side.
Yeah. I still like Tyrese.
Aaron Morris says Tyrese Haliburton is a high school musical bully.
Yeah, there you go. That's
he has on dress shoes. You know what I mean? Like,
And I would add, like, I'm not even saying this is an insult. I thought when Braun tried to be the like black headband villain in Miami, I didn't think it fit. Like it didn't work on Braun either to me. You know what I mean? Like it's just some people have that kind of energy, and some people Braun is meant to. He's a community uplifted person. He's meant to dunk on someone and then run around smiling. Like, you know what I mean? That's some people's energy. Ant is that mixture of both energies. Mm-hmm. He is a happy person who wants to kill you, and I think that's what's so exciting. Life on
a basketball court.
And I think that's where people the MJ comparisons make sense to me. Yeah. It's a similar energy.
You can't try and pretend like you're a Slytherin when you're ultimately a Gryffindor. You know, it just shines through.
I love that. I love it.
The NBA playoffs are heating up, and so is the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. With same-game parlays, live betting, odds boosts, and so much more. Don't miss out as the NBA postseason winds down.
Oh boy, the playoffs have gotten fun. The Nuggets Timberwolves series is crazy, and you know we are locked in to see who comes out of Mavericks Thunder as well. And if you're new to DraftKings, you got to check this out. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code Jenkins. That's code JENKINS Jenkins for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.